Welcome to the Godplane, Episode 10, Penance, Promise, and Purgation. The final episode. When we last saw the party, they had reunited with Purcell, the champion of the Dreaming God, and together you had fought, and seemingly defeated, the Nightmare. But not before it made an offer, a temptation to most of you. The battle was long and brutal. It's episode 8. Episode 8. The final episode. The battle was long and brutal. Purcell fought to keep the Nightmare bound to herself, forcing it to stay and fight, even as the Mist Cat showed itself, lending aid and helping when it was most needed. Just as the fight ended, the ground beneath your feet gave way, and seeing neither Purcell nor the elusive Mist Cat, you all fell, and fell, and fell. But before we jump back into that story, we have a few things we need to cover here tonight. First off, the Godplane is a 5e horror campaign. I'm your Dungeon Master, Kay Purcell, but before we proceed, there's some content warnings. This is a horror campaign, and this means that there will be some elements which viewers might find disturbing. I've worked with our incredible cast. I know their lines and veils. We can quickly nope out if we need to. But that said, I don't know yours, and I encourage you to please approach the stream with caution, take care of your own mental health, and take a break if you need to. With that, let's meet these wonderful folks who I have been torturing for 7 sessions and get my claws into one more time. Tell us who you are, who you play, where we can find you. Candace.
Hi, I'm nervous. My name is Candace, also known as Candace Magnificent. You can find me at that Candace Girl on Twitter, at Candace Magnificent everywhere else. My pronouns are they, she, and I am playing for the last time, Bo Astrius, she, her.
Piper.
Hi everyone, I'm also nervous. I'm Piper. I use they, he pronouns. You can find me on Twitter, as long as it survives, at Maddie Matihi. You can find me on Twitch at Matihi. And I play Bastion. They use any pronouns. The Elven Warlock.
Herb.
Hi, I'm Brian. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Urban Bohemian. My pronouns are he, they. I am playing Phineas, who is a changeling bard who uses they, them pronouns or pronouns form appropriate.
So we have one who is not nervous. Good to know. Carrie.
I am Carrie. You can find me at Carrie Smith 2012 on YouTube and Twitter. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Dylan today for the last time, and I'm not nervous, I'm lying. Dylan uses they, she pronouns.
We'd like to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Idle Champs of the Forgotten Realms. You can find a character by one of our incredible players in there, so you should definitely check it out. Please go check out Virgil. Use exclamation point code in the chat to redeem an Electrum chest and get yourself a heads up in that game. Thank you to Bardley.io for the background music, to Ghost Stories Incorporated for our spooky theme song that you're hearing right now, to Cozy Spoon for the art, and Elvoriel every time. Every time I get it wrong.
Alorvio.
Every time. I panic. I'm like, no, I'm going to get it right. And then I get to it and my brain goes. Lorville for Bastion's art. Thank you to Jason Wooldridge for the graphic design overlay. And of course, to our mods. Jason, Emily. I don't know if Kato's hanging out tonight. Maybe he is. Thank you all. We could not do it without our mods. Always heart the mods. As I said before, I'm your DM, Kay Purcell. My pronouns are she, they, and the best place to find me is on Twitter at KDamnFear. You can also see David Lee in chat, aka Full Rubber Ducky. He is my co-DM and co-wrote this, and has been actively stressing the players out in our backstage chat. It's really quite great. There is still a tip link up on Coffee, and any tips are sent to the cast. It's going to be a wonderful payout. Thank you all so much, especially to Emily, our rock star, both mod and tipper. And you can also unlock redeem channel points for Dream Shards to add +1s to D20 rolls of your choice. After that, we are done, and we are going to jump back into the story after this. You continue to plummet, mist streaking past your faces. But as you fall endlessly, you realize you're moving slower, not faster. You drift, and then you float, looking at each other, battered and bloody, injured yet victorious, before your feet come to rest on nothing. At least it feels like nothing. You realize that mist is all around you, not just under your feet and above your heads, but it lies in a thick, impenetrable cloud between you, and yet you can see through it, only recognizing it as what it is, where it swirls in the corner of your vision. As you four stand alone in heavy silence, is there anything you'd like to do or say?
Bastion looks around at the others, still panting a bit from the fight, and they say, "So is it over? Is that it?"
It feels ominous.
I don't understand. Did we win?
Not that I am an expert on the subject. I haven't won a lot of things, but I'm pretty sure that when one wins things, there's, ribbons, a meet and greet, lights of some kind, a gift, perhaps.
Oh,
This is very, stark for a win.
that's so very pure. But no, mostly it's that we're still here, and whatever tried to hurt us isn't. Although now, I'm not so sure.
Dylan, can you feel anything?
That's an excellent question. Can I feel anything?
You reach out. Give me either a wisdom roll or whatever you think Dylan would use.
14? It's a wisdom.
You feel something. It's not the pink mist presence that has hounded you most of your life. But you are suddenly very aware that you are not alone. And it, whatever this thing is, has a very large presence.
So I think at being asked that, Dylan focuses for a second, and then if you could see the hairs stand up on the back of their neck, like they just tense, and their eyes are scanning the mist all around to try to see something, and just whispers, "We're not alone."
Dylan, you turn and you see it first. And you start. The rest of you quickly follow suit. You see two figures standing before you. One is a child. They wear a long white garment, almost like a nightdress. Brown curls frame their face. Their eyes are a large, pale, misty blue. And to their right, and one deferential step behind them, stands Vassal, though she is changed. The multitude of tattoos across her body have turned to a shimmering, shifting, misty, glowing blue-white. Gently flowing, swirling lines of curling clouds and wind and energy rise in beautiful, gentle patterns all across her skin. Her left eye, formerly ruined and blackened, now shines a shimmering blue-white. Above her head hovers a delicate, barely there misty halo, and behind her back, a pair of gossamer, misty wings almost seem to shimmer in and out of existence. She smiles at you all.
Purcell, you look incredible.
She lowers her eyes, both an acknowledgement and seems a little bashful. Then she
Okay,
glances to the child.
Now I am certain that we have at least, for the moment, one. What's going on?
You see her chuckle quietly and look down at the child, who meets her eyes and ever so slightly inclines their head. And then Vassal steps forward, and a bright smile breaks across her face. She looks changed in more ways than one. She looks younger, relieved, happy. Her voice is warmer and softer, but it also fills you, washes over you. As she speaks, you feel the power of the voice of the dreaming god. Thank you, heroes. You have saved these worlds I love so dearly. You succeeded where so many others have failed. You did what none before you could do. And she steps back and again lowers her eyes to the child, who looks to you all and smiles and holds up their hands. 4 small motes of glowing mist form above their palms, and though the child's lips do not move, you hear a soft, breathy sound brush across you. Words you've never heard before, but you instinctively know they mean thank you. The motes of glowing mist move forward without any sort of gesture from the child, and each one moves before you. They hover before your chest before slipping into you. You suck in a breath as warmth washes over you, and you each are suddenly filled with the divine. The entirety of the dreaming worlds are now yours to explore, Vassal says, sweeping one arm before her. The mist parts and you see the vastness of space before you, but it's exaggerated, wonderful, full of motion and color. It looks like the child's imagination of what outer space could or perhaps should be. At just your first glance, you watch as 2 galaxies swirl around each other in a fascinating dance, moving at a speed out of sync with everything else around it. A cotton candy pink planet spins playfully around its sun, and rings move and dance playfully around it, almost as if they're dancing with the planet itself. You find yet another barren, rocky world that sits with one huge tree, larger than anything natural should ever allow, which grows from the planet, its branches wider than this rock it calls home. Everything is bright and magical and exciting, and there is so much more. You all look at each other in wonder and find each of your companions has changed. You too have become more as the divine powers of the dreaming god have begun to manifest in you. So I would like to ask each of you to describe how your characters look now that they have become demigods. Would anyone like to volunteer to go first?
I think for Phineas, although that name is no longer sufficient to describe what they are or who they are, for Phineas, as they look out onto the worlds, you see their form change and their outfit changes along with it, just absorbing the stories of those that they see before them, and thinking about what the nightmare said about how there is perhaps feelings of awareness and neglect among those worlds, thinking that they want to become someone to make sure that no one else in any of those worlds feels what they did. And so, yeah, as this awareness is flooding into them, you know, their face changes, their form changes, their outfit almost overwhelming and faster until it finally stops back at the form that you've known. And this, I want to say this is beyond comprehension, but oddly it's not.
I think
Does-
you see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, does Phineas retain like their same look? Or is it Phineas plus?
It's very new game plus. But Phineas for now maintains the face and body that their friends know them as. But yes, their outfit it's much more of, it's much more of a kind of a flowing robe that at least one moment appears to be a robe, another moment appears to be sort of pants. So even the outfit is as mercurial as they are, that is still changing and deciding what it is, while their form remains the one that everyone at least recognize for the moment.
Bastian, I think you were ready.
Yeah, so you see Bastion shift as kind of this divinity enters into him, and you see that her eyes swap from that slightly glowing blue to just completely this glowing purple. No irises, just the entire thing. It's almost like it is made out of mist. You can see very much like the doll had previously when she opened her mouth, all stars. It is the same thing, basically. This universe reflected back within Bastion's eyes. They have almost this just hovering purple mist swirls about them. No wings per se, but as they step and if they move forwards, it's almost just trails, and they step on these like clouds, puffs of wisps of smoke as they move around very effortlessly. Their shirt now kind of this loose kind of chain weave sheer top, very, very low cut pants, loose, hanging off just their hips, no shoes. Not a lot of, not a lot of accoutrements, I would say, but a few bracelets and such that they have, including one that looks almost very childlike, like a child kind of braided different bits of yarn together. It's on their right wrist, various rings on their left hand. And they stand a bit aloft, looking at themselves, their hands, and sense something about them is different in general. They say, "So are we... Is this where we now reside?"
Purcell smiles and kind of gives like a one-shoulder shrug. You reside wherever you wish to reside. And we can dive more into that after we finish with our other two. Who's next?
I will go. Bo looks around and realizes that they are about a foot taller than they were moments ago. They like go to turn and their shoulders flex and they can feel so much more power than they've ever been able to claim for themselves before. They look down at their arms. Their arms are much more muscular. Their hands stronger, and a little bit larger. Not quite so big as they were when they were enlarged during the fight, but that same sense of power is still like within her. Her blouse is gone, instead replaced by kind of this like leather, like this kind of hard leather fashioned with like metal like accents of a breastplate, with little like minotaur sigils all over, that symbolize her family and her home. At her waist, she has a holster for what is now like a really beautifully kind of etched hammer that has kind of like the story of her people kind of etched into the metal. And the holster is like a really beautiful kind of like leather worked version of the little Geppetton doll that she usually keeps kind of tucked into her armor. She also recognizes that as she kind of speaks, goes to answer Bastian, the quaver in her voice is no longer there. She kind of turns to them. I don't know if we're following anyone anymore. I think it feels like we're on our own, and we're here to make our own decisions. Something I didn't know I was capable of, but feels very, very right.
Dylan.
Dylan's like crimson eyes are much deeper, and it's like a deeper, darker color, but then also almost like a little more sunken in, like they've just lived many years at this point. The clothing is turned into like, you can't tell if it's leather or if it's metal. It's like this really dark, kind of like low V-cut sort of clothing that almost seems to be like made from shadow in a sense. It's hard to tell the exact material of it. Many rings on their fingers, one ring on one of their horns that kind of hangs down on a chain into like an eyebrow ring on that side too. Other than that, they just look a little older, not so much like a child or like a, young adult. They look like they should be here now.
And with that, you all are free to explore any of the dreaming worlds you wish. We're going to take some time to play this out. You can tell me if there's anything you wish to do, if you travel together, if you go off seeking your own things. You can basically tell me any kind of world you'd like to visit or anything you'd like to research or look into. You can interact with people as a demigod, and you can even start to build your own worship, should you desire. You can visit your home worlds, but you can only visit them after the point at which you were brought to the Godplane at the start of this campaign. You can also meet and interact with heroes from the Forgotten Realms or seek out those you saw in the halls, because some of them are native to the Dreaming, whereas others occasionally enter the Dreaming worlds when they sleep. So tell me, what does this group of new demigods get up to?
Oh, you muted there, Candace?
Do bad things happen when we go to certain places? Or like the monsters are gone and things are fine now?
Things are fine now. What you will find and what you will like there are always two different things. Are there monsters? Yes, but as we've seen, sometimes the monsters are the things within you.
I'm gonna let
Bastion.
someone else pick.
Yeah, Bastion looks around to the others and says, I think before we maybe go off and explore, there should be maybe one last thing that we can try and do. And kind of pulls the three of you together. Says, let's go seek out Bice.
Absolutely.
Let's go. And can we like open portals and such ourselves?
Yeah, you can tell me what you would like your transportation methods to look like. If you would like to open portals, if you would like to simply warp, like, you tell me what your divine magic is like.
For Phineas, it's as though they're turning a page in a book, but the book is reality. They just sort of reach up and wave their hand over, and it's not like a portal or anything, but the next step that they take is where they want to go.
You swipe right, got it.
Turning a page. Wait, swipe. You children and your devices. We're out here looking for bices, not devices. Stop.
Or vices.
Mhm.
But
That's very cool. I don't mean to make light of it. That's very freaking cool and
I-
very freaking Phineas.
and I think
We can
The last
tackle
place-
Bice
yeah,
and then go back.
I-
Like we can.
yeah,
It
I think
doesn't
the
have to be
last-
chronological.
I think for Phineas, when they change that scene, what you see in front of them is the safe campfire where we last encountered Bice. But then Phineas wills that scene to center on Bice and move backwards to the moment when they were separated from the Solins. And I can't remember if Bice ran or something happened, but essentially tracing that back to the moment that they were separated, and that is where Phineas wishes for them to go.
So as you do this, something strange happens because you turn this page and you see that fire. And it's very fitting for your abilities because it looks like a sketch. It looks like something out of a storybook, and you push it backwards and you see Vassal and Bice and this entire party engaged with that horrible snake-headed monster. And you see it turn its gaze to Bice, and you see it in almost like an animated sketchbook scream. And you see Bice run into the mists in terror. But then it's almost like the lines fall apart. And in confusion, you reach out to turn the page again. And you find yourselves on a beautiful, lush green forest. You hear bird songs and a distant waterfall, and you smell life all around you. The air is sweet with flowers, and you hear a laughter. You look and you see Vice not as you saw them in that clearing, but as you saw them in the dream memory. A young ranger knocking and shooting arrows, practicing with another small group. And they have a small six-legged creature hopping and yipping at their legs and running to try and retrieve any arrows which don't stick into the stump which they are using for target practice. Because, like you realize these heroes are no longer trapped in the Godplane. They have been returned to their home worlds, their moments in time.
Do you think that Purcell knows?
She seemed happy. I feel if she's happy, then she must have wanted Vice to be happy.
No, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad that Vice seems to be thriving.
And just then, Bastian, you feel a tug on your flowy pant leg. And you look down and there's this little creature, six-legged, bright red, with kind of like black stripes up its long little muzzle, has like grabbed your pants. It's like, "Arr!" And it's got this long kind of pointed tail that's like flicking. And you see Bice. Where? Phineas, where are you? Finneris, where? Oh, hello.
Hi.
I've not seen you around these parts. I am Bice.
No, you haven't. Hi, Vice. It is just good to see people frolicking and happy. You can go and enjoy yourself.
We'll be here for another few days before we move on. If you need anything, please. And this little creature kind of headbutts your leg and like playfully tugs at your pant leg one more time. Finneris, come here. They kneel down and scratch this little creature's face as it comes up. It's like, Finneris really likes you.
I really like Finneris. Seems very sweet.
If you need anything, let us know.
Do I still have the magic sword?
You reach back. It's there, but now it just kind of looks like a blade. Not terribly well cared for, but you can tell in your divine form. This was created to help dreamers on the Godplane. And here in the worlds, it's just a toy. Just an item. It was
I tuck it
infused
away,
with
not
magic.
wanting to disturb this happiness in case it confuses them more than it delights them.
If you see an individual named Vassal in your dreams, enjoy that. have lots of fun. And Bass just kind of turns to the others and just is like, I am not good at this, and just starts like walking away.
So awkward.
I pull Bastion in for a hug. Like I put my arm around him and I'm like, hey,
Hey,
it's okay. You're doing your best. That's all we can do.
I hoped that maybe we could reunite them. But if Bice is happy, Bice is happy.
Phineas looks towards the group and to Bice and says, it's so very kind of you to be so hospitable to travelers who you've only just met. And,
We're
well, we
travelers
also-
ourselves. We always travel. It's
Oh.
the least we can do for each other.
We may not, we may not be this way again, but it has warmed our hearts to see those doing so well. And
Have you come from the wars in the East? You're very... talking of very dark things. It's a very long ways away.
it's sometimes life and journeys weigh on you, regardless of whether they are good or bad. But today is a joy and a delight. And I feel that we can safely say we are all better for having met you.
I don't know how you know that, but I'm so glad. So glad. Again, we're heading west after this. If you need anything, I'm sure we can find you.
Thank you.
Bastion says, so I picked the first spot. Does anybody else want to pick where we go next? Do you all keep wanting to travel together is my other question. I mean, I would love to continue traveling with all of you as well.
I should like that very much. I'll pick next as long as you all promise not to get upset with me.
Can't promise that exactly until I know what it is.
I think it'll be fun.
We're not going down the
Okay.
slide. Is that what you're talking about? The slide with the murder chickens?
Bo like takes a step back, hefts their hammer, and like hits the ground, knowing that there's no ground to hit. And like a little like hole opens up, and she just like pops through it.
Sorry,
It's
a
the murder
large
chicken.
hole opens up for Bo to get through it.
Yeah.
And we approve.
It's okay. We can fly. Well, I can fly.
I
Phineas
can help.
gracefully descends.
Why do I
Dylan,
feel like Phineas does a Magneto thing?
for sure.
That's exactly what I
It's not
see.
on arms. It's not on arms folded, but as like the hole opened up, there was no movement, as if it didn't matter. And then, upon hearing Bo again, they're just like, "All right, going down." Like,
Bastion sees Dylan basically turn to shadow and disappear in your shadow to follow you.
I think their travel method in this case, taking from their patron, you see Bastion turns into a tiny blue cat and just kind of hops down into the hole.
Is it a hairless blue cat or does it have fur?
It's a big, like, puffy, like a big furry puffy blue cat shedding everywhere.
Just a cloud of hair behind it.
Just, yeah, instead of mist, it's hair. Just
When you get in the
Yes, I
hole,
own a
there's
cat.
you're totally with the sand penguins in the slide. I'm so sorry. You are. I apologize.
I knew it.
I'm not really sorry, but
So the nice thing is this whole place has been transformed, and instead there are penguins about, but they're like a little bit smaller and a little bit rounder. And they are colorful. They have almost a rainbow sheen to them, not in the scary flower way, right? They no longer have the frills, and they're kind of waddling around. And the even better news is there are some bigger slides too. So you can go down various, and being demigods, you can manipulate the sizes of the slides.
So I go up to the smally slide, like the ones I couldn't ride before.
And they like hardly even get halfway up your shin now because you're so big.
Yeah, but I smoosh myself down because I'm a demigod and I can be whatever size I want. So I go down to like baby penguin size. And I'm like, guys, I told you it would be so wonderful. And you see me like little baby Bo, like, yay, on the back of one of the penguins, having a great time. Just the best time. You can stop me whenever you want. I'll be over here with the slide. And these
Penguin's like,
penguins.
it's like you're like on its back and it's like, and it like does that puffy bird thing and it's like,
Mm-hmm. I pet them so they know I'm a friend.
Dylan
And-
reappears out of shadow and is like, God, you got to shed so much?
Just like looks up at Jill and still the cat and says, I'm sorry. I don't know how to be hairless.
And Phineas, there
Big
is
Bo.
one
can go at
large
any time.
tree with a blanket. If you would like to sit and read books, anyone, that is also an option that has appeared now.
While the children are playing.
Just so different to see this place thriving. And I don't believe there was anywhere that didn't mean us harm, and now it's all just fine.
Give me a wisdom or a religion check. Or arcana. Give me arcana too. Whichever of those three you like.
Uh, 26.
The Godplane wasn't one plane. It was collections of fragments of dreams that had been twisted into nightmares. So this isn't a giant desert planet. This is one world where this is a little part of it, and that piece of the world had broken off and drifted and been pulled into the mists and became a part of the Godplane. So there's a chance that all of those places you visited are somewhere in the worlds. But they're also just little parts of many other worlds.
I think Bastion will join in on the slides. Except just themselves. Kind of sliding down. It's a cat.
I was gonna say as themselves or as their cat self.
Cat self. Yeah. Cat self is is sliding down. I'm gonna make these a lot more robust slides. So they're a lot taller. Hard a bit there's like a little like I guess what is it? Like a little conveyor belt to make it easier for these penguins to get up to the top of the slide and then slide back down and then get back up. Just so they don't have to climb stairs.
You see them kind of hop and like waggle their little wings as they realize. And they puff up their necks, but it's not scary this time. Maybe some PTSD, but much more cute.
Cute PTSD. Dylan is just looking around, like waiting for the shoe to drop. Dylan does not have like a trusting. They have not retired into this by any means. They're still on edge.
Give me a perception check.
16.
You scan the horizon. You narrow your eyes. You've only got about 2 hours until sunset. Unless you use your godly powers to change that. Nothing else.
Dylan,
Yeah.
I think if you're seeking trouble now, it is actually more likely to find us because we will it so. So, perhaps for the first time since meeting you, I'm going to say something. Relax.
Yeah, I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. I'm more relaxed than them. They're playing on slides.
Hmm.
Look,
Yeah, I'm
there's
not
no
getting.
harm.
I'm
there's
not.
no-
I'm not getting on one of those slides. Okay.
There's just no harm in being ready, you know?
You guys kind of look over at the slides and you see like Bo and like 3 penguins going down the slide. But like as Bo gets to the bottom, she turns back into her like normal size self and is just like holding the penguins and brings them over and puts one in your arms, Phineas, and one in your arms, Dylan.
Oh,
And I look around and I see that Bastian is still the cat, and I go pick up the cat and I bring it back over. And I'm like, so, meet your new friends.
oh,
I've named them after you. So that
Oh.
you'll all have things in common. Things to talk about.
It's the same names as us.
Yes, this is Phineas. This is Dylan. This is Bastian. And this is Bo. And I pick up, and it's like the smallest penguin.
And now that you're looking up close, they have these like deep purple eyes that kind of sparkle.
Aw.
And they're
Everything is
very
wonderful.
fluffy and warm.
It's great here. They give good hugs. I've checked.
Their little wings are like this long.
Dylan, why do you have that look on your face?
What look? I don't have a look.
Phineas, does she have a look on her face?
And Phineas just turns to Dylan and says, I'm afraid you still very much do. But
What's his name? Turn that frown
it's-
upside down.
Maybe
it's
a
it's
penguin
going
isn't
away.
what you need.
I set the penguin down. I am fine. This is not a
Excellent.
frown.
Good.
And I like
that-
bared my fangs.
Oh,
You're waiting
A
for the
lot.
other shoe to drop, aren't you?
Yes.
Has it occurred to you might be the other shoe?
What?
You
Me.
might be the other shoe.
I don't understand what you're getting at. I might cause the other shoe to drop?
I mean, right now I'm having a lovely time, except I'm really concerned about my friend. So you're my other shoe.
Well, you brought me a murder penguin that is now cute.
Yeah, I smushed this penguin even further in your face. Like,
Oh,
the cheek is like next to your cheek, the eye is like in your eyeball. This is not a murder penguin.
It like nuzzles a little, and you feel it try to like preen your neck.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is Dylan, also a friend.
Okay, Dylan. This is probably the weirdest moment I've ever had in my entire life.
There's
And
going
that
to be
is-
a lot more of those.
yeah, Phineas leans in to Dylan and says, do you want it to get weirder?
No.
Why
I
don't,
don't.
no, but you Piper.
No, wait, what? No! Not like that.
Dylan, where would you like to go?
I try to
It, like-
hand the penguin
It
to
like
someone
blinks,
else.
and then it blinks like a third
Oh,
set of eyelids this way.
Yeah. Look, I don't really know where I would like to go. This is the most out of place I've felt since we got here, and I feel like that's not really a good thing. So I think someone else should choose.
Do you want to go back to the house? You didn't seem scared there.
You know, oddly enough, I really wasn't. But I don't want to go back. I don't think.
Oh,
I mean,
I actually
unless
kind
someone-
of wanted to go back to the house.
I mean, there were plenty of rooms that are probably not scary now.
Maybe
There's
we can.
probably a home of mangoes.
Maybe we can also kill that woman.
I hadn't actually thought of killing, but
Oh.
it did seem as though she was in pain. So perhaps we can lessen that?
Just to be clear, is this like a put her out of her misery lesson that, or like...
Yes, in that she will no longer be miserable after we have helped her work through her pain.
Right.
Dylan, you've suffered a great loss. I'm very worried about you.
I have?
Your
Well,
mother.
first your mother, and
Oh, right,
yeah. And now the doom and gloom that you expect, it's gone, and I imagine you're feeling quite bereft.
Oh yeah, my mom. Okay, done.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm feeling okay, really. I'm just... I thought there would be more. This just feels so...
Fun?
I don't know.
Do you want danger?
I don't know. I mean, it's all I've really known. You saw who my mom is. So I don't know. Is this it? I don't know.
We can always get ourselves into danger.
Please. Don't want danger. I mean, unless it's constructive danger, like Phineas is suggesting. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll also
Maybe we
say, you heard Vice talk about wars to the east. So while you've saved the dreaming worlds, they are not free from conflict or suffering. Because it is in the nature of sentience, even dreamed ones, to find conflict.
More of a
What-
hands-off management type of demigod. I don't like,
I will
Alright.
say once we're maybe finished with the house and finally figuring out who the husband, or the person in that picture was, because I'm very curious about that. I do have a temple that I would like to visit as well.
I will go, but I might need to stay outside.
All right.
We'll see.
That-
We'll see. Maybe not.
I mean, we'll see as well. I don't know how much time it's been since everything happened.
I think it's been a long time.
We'll
A
see.
very long time.
Could be. But if we're all taken from different points of time, then potentially my point of time, there's still some time to talk to those who are still there. So house
House.
or house?
House. And then Dylan turns to shadow and disappears in Bastion's shadow again.
Oh, right now. Okay, okay.
Mm.
Bo puts all of the penguins back and says goodbye to them. And tells them how much she loves them and that she'll see them soon.
They're like gathered around your hoovesies, like grooming your, like preening your leg hair. Your little minotaur legs.
I love you, babies.
And I'll turn back into a person.
Who is leading the transport this time? Obviously not Dylan, because Dylan's noped out.
I think it's got to be Finn. Also, I'd like to say I think it's hilarious we just had this entire conversation with Bastion as a cat. Did not realize.
Yeah,
Super serious
In your arms,
conversation.
it's just like,
this is who I am now.
I'm a cat.
I'm like,
And I'm
The
person.
whole time looking for something to push off you.
Oh, where?
I believe the phrase is, "It was a dark and stormy night." And once again, Phineas kind of turns the page right in front of them, to look upon where, like, essentially it looks exactly where they emerged from the mist portal to this scene, with the house ahead of them. But I don't know if the scene is any different now than it was then.
Well, as you said, it is a dark and stormy night. The world itself bends to your will, and you emerge as a clap of thunder and a flash of lightning, and it is raining. But this time, all the lights in the little 2-story farmhouse are on and warm. And there's no creepy child waving at you from the window.
Okay, well, we can strike the weather, so that's a no.
It's a beautiful, sunny day. You
Much
hear
better.
birds chirping, and the woods around you are not barren and spindly as before, but lush and green. Squirrels congregate off to one side of the house, and you see what you couldn't see because of the torrents of rain. No, there's not just a greenhouse, there's another garden off to the side. A little well. And now you actually see a little child's swing hanging from one of the trees.
Phineas points to a slight depression in the ground as they're walking towards the house. Oh, Dylan, that's where we found your body.
Dylan
You're dead.
reforms out of shadow. Oh, cool. And is just walking towards the house.
You know, I was this close to attempting to take over your body because I didn't realize it was you at the time.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Would have been really fun as a GM.
Dead body? Mine.
Do you
Do
all
we
knock
knock
or
or-
do you barge in?
Kicked it.
I put
Yeah, we'll
nothing
knock.
past this group. Are you kidding?
I feel like Dylan's like about to just open the door, and you're like, nah.
Just let's-
And then you knock.
Hello?
The door opens, and you see a familiar face. Rexalia. Her face is warm and bright. Her ears are long and curling. Gone is that terrifying, haunted individual you saw. Her eyes are bright green with freckles across her cheeks. She's got that plump, round face and an apron. She's got flour across her face and opens the door. Yes, can I? Oh, it's all. Oh, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you all again. You did it. I must admit, I didn't think you would. Obviously. I'm so sorry. Come in. And you actually hear laughter and patters of footsteps as 3 children are running through the room with an infant held by a girl with very long dark hair wearing a white dress.
This is too weird.
Yeah. I peek my head into the living room and look at the painting.
You see it as you remember, except the children are not frowning. there are smiles all around. You do see the man's face. His features are severe. And he alone is not smiling in the portrait.
And I'll turn and say, and if you don't mind me asking, who's that?
That is my husband. Former husband, gone now. Gone now. So long as so long as the house was here. The house is my place of power. But he was trapped within, and he was making all of us miserable, if I'm honest. All of us. I thought I could fix him. I couldn't fix him. And then I could not get rid of him. So
Understood.
I trapped him in the house where he couldn't bother us. But he still found ways to be a nuisance. I know how that makes me sound, but I would do anything for my family.
That is quite admirable.
And as she says that, a little boy, in full color this time, runs up and tugs at her skirts. She's like, oh, hello, Tobias, hello.
Is this that same child from before?
Fast. We wanted to, I suppose, check back in on you seems the most appropriate phrase, because you showed us all things about ourselves, and those things did help us. So, if there was anything that we could do for you, I wanted to know.
You did it already. You saved us. I know I was harsh. I was severe. You met her, right? Tezik.
We sure did.
Yeah.
I became mistrustful of her because she took over my library and then she wouldn't leave, and I am very powerful here, but it turns out she was more powerful, so I had to banish the library entirely. It's back now if you'd like to visit. The library is here. Also Bo, right? Bo, correct? Bo, the you can visit the conservatory. The tree is beautiful. It's beautiful. I've never seen it so live and lush. I was mistrustful. I did not want... I welcomed Tazik at first. She desperately wanted to stop the nightmare and needed information to do it. And so I gave her all the information I could. And then she made my home hers. And she would not leave, and I did not have the power to banish her. And she came without Purcell, and I did not trust other dreamers without Purcell. It was unfair of me. I thought I would give you trials that Tazik would not stand up to, and you would leave. But you did not. You are all made of sterner things.
Thank you. It is very understandable considering what Tazik had done and what they continue to do.
It is not an excuse, but it is a reason, and I'm glad you understand. I pride myself on hospitality, and then I did not do it.
There's much time to make up for that. I'm sure other dreamers will come by, and need aid or some sort of resting place.
Thanks to you four, I have been able to retire my Hall of Heroes. They are living
Bo's
happily
face
and well.
falls a little bit. she's been like sitting here talking, like listening to everybody, and wanting really bad to find a closet so she could see all the awesome paintings of all of us.
Yeah, Phineas actually says, I don't mean to sound vain, but did we make it into the hallway?
I think you have to be eaten to get in the hall.
You don't want to be in that. Those are heroes who. That's a memorial.
Yeah, they got eaten by the house.
Not the house. Just
The house.
on the way to.
Oh,
Oh, I don't want to be in the hallway now.
No.
no.
All right.
I do want to go to the conservatory, though.
Yes. And then we can make our own hallway that's not full of fallen people's faces.
Do we recognize the lady with the dark hair? Is she like just an older child, or is she somebody different? Hmm.
You'll wake the baby. But when you look at her now, she's got rosy red cheeks, and she's kind of hiding shyly behind her hair as she holds this infant and kind of rocks it. It's far less creepy. As
Can
you get
I
ready-
Can I touch the painting and remove the man from it?
And then as you do, like Drexalia's like, no, wait, that. And then you wipe away the man. She's like, vastly improved. There's one more upstairs. Would you mind terribly?
Not at all. I remove him from that one too, trying to make sure this house looks nice, better than we left it. Do you need any help rebuilding your library? Or do you say it's back and it's fine? It was quite in shambles when we left. Apologies.
Not your fault, if anyone's fault, Hasek, but after your efforts, things, especially those who helped the Dreaming God, got kind of reset.
Oh, to the conservatory then? Can get more of those mangoes.
You can taste one this time.
Oh,
Bo like bounds up the stairs, like before you can even say anything. Like you just hear like this giant feet running up the stairs. And I think I just like tuck a bunch into like my little like satchel.
And you watch with your divine presence, everyone you pick, a new one just starts growing. Because even unconsciously, you want more, so they just start growing.
Yeah. My mouth like full, but I'm still looking immaculate because I'm a demigod, and like the freckles on my face are like twinkling a little bit because I'm really happy. I'm ready to go when you are. What's next?
As Bo is collecting her mangoes, Phineas, you feel a little tug on the back of your, whatever your outfit is at this exact moment.
Phineas turns to look and see what's going on.
You see the little boy, and he's smiling, and he kind of holds up, it looks like a box with a lid, and he just says, "Thank you."
Phineas will take the box and look inside.
You lift the lid and a frog pops out. And the kid goes,
What
and
a little-
absolutely books it.
Phineas has no reaction to the frog, but as the child books it, like where is the child heading towards?
Like down the stairs, down the hall, just away.
As the child heads down the stairs and away, what happens is the child then actually finds himself running again out from the back corridor. Yes. Hi.
I like pranks. Did you bring the cat?
We have
For
a
the
cat.
first time. Like, thinks about it for a moment. And as they're thinking about it, puts their hand on the child's shoulder, and the child's entire clothing fills with frogs. And then turns to the others and says, We haven't seen the cat, have we?
No. Lancelot, are you around?
You see a little of purple, and then yeah, and he like looks at the other three of you, and like frowns, and like, oh, I can't do that anymore.
Do what?
They all can see me. Why can't I?
Oh.
He's trying very hard to turn invisible to the other three of you.
Be careful. If one of us wants you gone, you might not be able to come back now.
It's not very nice. I thought we were friends. We saved the Dreaming Worlds together.
It is very
Yes.
true.
But I never said we were friends.
I
If
thought
we're
maybe
friends,
we
you
were.
don't need to hide.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's more fun.
Can
Why
I
were you-
introduce you to this little boy who loves pranks?
I think they know each other.
Yeah, Tobias and I are friends, and Tobias is covered in frogs. And while he initially like shrieked, he's now laughing hysterically and chasing frogs all over the conservatory. And he's like, "Sir Fluffy Bottom, come help me!" And is like crouching down like a frog and then like hopping after them. Yeah, he's great. We have fun.
So Fluffy Bottom is your name.
It
That's
is
what he
now.
calls me. I like names. I asked you for one. You never gave it to me. Guess we aren't friends. And he like
I'd love to be your
dramatically,
friend.
sadly grooms himself.
No. You see this like huge minotaur, like 7.5 feet tall, like no, to this tiny cat. Your name.
And he looks up expectantly, like paws tucked in real tight.
How about Lucifer?
Lucifer, that's fun. Okay.
I know it's
Thank
also
you.
an L name, but you know.
I just like names. It's fine. I've had a lot of strange names across the time, so that's a good one. I haven't been given that one. And he kind of settles in and looks really happy, and then kind of like a huge fluff of purple mist forms all the way around him and kind of starts drifting off, so he goes back to being hairless. He starts purring. Lucifer. He's like making little biscuits. Lucifer. Yeah, I like that.
So, just to confirm, this is all
Oh, yeah.
for you, Dylan, as well. We're fine now, right? The nightmare's gone. We're safe.
Seems? Yeah.
Looks over at Dylan.
Absolutely.
Good. Now that I'm I guess a demigod, in a way, I guess.
Yeah, that's what
Did you
yeah.
get any sort of piece of that with our deal?
It doesn't. It's not like I get like 2%. So if you like get bigger, my 2%. No, it's just kind of a. Is it offensive to you if I say spiderweb? Like a spiderweb.
No, it's not.
Okay. It's just a thing that holds us together.
Interesting. Well, at some point after this, maybe you and I can have a talk, either as fellow cats or whatever your true form, as large as it is. I'd be quite interested to sit down with you.
Happy to. You are my hero after all.
And you mine. And I will turn into a cat as well and just start like going over and like rub cheeks.
Oh, all of the cheek rubs, and there's like grooming, and his skin, like he's hairless cats have this very like fine fuzzy. He's very fine and fuzzy, and he's so warm. Like he's almost too hot to touch, but not quite.
Also do that thing where cats like they'll mirror each other.
Yeah, we end up playing patty cake.
Yeah, it's a good time. I feel like most of my days are going to be this. Where shall we go next?
You mentioned the temple.
I did. I guess let's turn back into bipedal bastion. I guess let's go to the temple. Oh no, I have a terrible idea.
I love it.
Let's go.
You also, like, if you need time alone, you all don't have to all stay together. Just saying. If you got something private, you can do it in private. That's not my business. And then he understands he's not necessarily invited to this party.
Do you want to
You
go
all-
alone?
You all are free to come, of course. But I know this is definitely something that I need to confront myself. At least one individual.
Bo is not good at reading the room, so they're already like,
Let's go. But Phineas, Dylan, you are free to come if you'd like.
Well, we can always come for moral support, and if it's not needed, then we can leave.
We will see. I think everything should be fine. Hopefully. But let us go. And I think very much like kind of looking down into a pool of water. You see that Bastion kind of leans down and touches the ground. Kind of you see it starts to shimmer and fade. And in that reflection, you see what looks like a beautiful, just green grass, rolling golden hills, and this large, fairly complex structure with a large kind of spider-webbed eye in the very center made of glass. And they kind of just step through and almost kind of like turning themselves, they step through and immediately pop back up, standing right side on the other side, facing the Temple of the Weaver.
And the rest of you follow. So, you stand before the Temple of the Weaver, and you know that behind it, through a maze-like forest that only the chosen may pass, everyone else will be lost, is the cottage. But you stand before the temple, and it is as you remember.
Bastion will start walking forward. Their gestures are a bit more nervous now that they're here. They're glancing around, trying to look for someone. Layla, see if they're here.
Doesn't take you long to find her. She has always been studious. You find her at her usual spot, studying the books. Do you appear as your former self, or do you choose to hold your current visage?
I think for this, walking in, the rest of the group sees Bastion, but everyone else around, those who are the other Rippers, priests who are there as well, will see Fiona, from the long blonde braided hair, fully clad in armor.
You see several of the Rippers and just some people who help upkeep the temple turn in startled concern at these new faces, but quickly see that you're with them, and they give you a questioning look. But seeing that you are vouching for them, they all back down. And you are able to find her very easily, unimpeded.
They will step up, probably out of Layla's sightline at first, and then just kind of go behind them and just like tap them twice on the shoulder.
They're sitting lost in a book, kind of like this, chewing on some jerky absently as they're just lost in studying. And then, oh, Fiona, hello. How are you?
Hello, Layla. Nice to see you.
As the rest of you hear this name, what do? How do you react? Are you staying back? Are you sliding up beside Bastion? How are you handling this?
How is Bastion's body language?
I think they're very nonplussed at the moment. They're more just kind of standing very stoically, just kind of staring down at Layla.
I think Dylan just stands there for a little bit, and it kind of depends on Bastion. Like, if they start looking uncomfortable, Dylan will go over there. If they start looking more comfortable, Dylan's gonna just turn and mind their own business.
Phineas is taking it all in, the fact that we're here, and taking, essentially taking it all in and giving Bastion this space while also using their perception to eavesdrop the heck out of this. So their full attention is on what's happening, but their body and body language are like giving space.
Fake reading a book.
The second Beau hears the familiarity in the person's voice and then hears Bastion say their name, she kind of flushes this like very deep kind of purple color, and like looks around for the first thing that her eyes can kind of find, which is the temple. And she like looks over at Phineas, looks over at Dylan, realizes that they're paying attention and they're there, and realizes like she needs to give some space, and goes to kind of just like check out the temple, maybe like a few feet away, not like super close, but just like really trying to like study the temple, like close enough where if everybody to shout, she could like bound over there with her giant legs, but like far enough away that she can't like hear what's going on. And she just kind of starts looking at the structure, trying to kind of learn from the new style that she sees.
It's fascinating because it is incredibly well constructed, but also ancient.
Yeah.
Flying buttresses have not yet been invented. You can tell just by looking at this style.
Yeah. I'm really into it, and I take out a little notebook and a quill, and I start like I find myself just absentmindedly like drafting and sketching like as I'm like circling this structure, realizing like not realizing that like it's pointless, but just kind of falling back into old habits.
Back to you, Bastion.
Looks over Layla and says, "So how was the battle?"
We have not seen an attack in quite a while. It's been a welcome break. Taking the time to rest and stock up for whenever the attacks might return.
You don't seem very shocked at all that I'm back.
Were you gone? Where did you go?
Really? What's the last thing that you remember during the battle?
We were in a fight, and you fell, and Tazik took you and took you to the medicine hall.
Is Tazik here?
Dylan is suddenly interested.
I have not seen Tazik and... She, blinks. I think she said she had somewhere to go. She had to be somewhere else.
Yes, she did. Unfortunately, and I really hate to be the one to tell you, puts a hand on my shoulder. Tazik's dead.
You watch
And I killed her.
She stands up so fast, she knocks over the chair. You what? She was one of us. She was my...
Well, she was
What did
not you. She was one of us. You two caused the whole undead mess.
What undead?
I love that you're playing this. I just want to let you know. Again, puts both hands on either of her shoulders. And we'll shift back into Bastion's form and say,
What kind of trick is this?
oh, it's no trick. Fiona's dead. Well, the Fiona you knew. It is only Bastion now. And I do want to tell you that the Dreaming God doesn't care about you, specifically.
And at Fiona is dead, you watch tears well in her eyes. And there's just confusion all across her face. All of you can give me a perception check if you would like.
I think Brian and I's reaction was exactly Phineas and Dylan's reaction.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, what kind of check are we making?
Perception.
It's terrible.
12. I am into that building.
You
You
are
think I'm going to use this godly power for good? No.
this is a very cool temple.
24 because Phineas was watching and listening the entire time.
I got an 8. I'm just like,
So, Bastion / Peppa really didn't share that much, but it's very fitting that you know this story, Phineas, that you're the one who made this observation. You look around, and you think about what the temple looked like as you came in. You didn't see anything that suggests a war with the undead.
I think at that, just unsure of exactly how, Phineas is trying to get a sense of either when we are or like essentially trying to get a sense of, are we before that story was told, or are we not and this is simply the new story?
You're a bard. You deal in stories. I am not even going to make you roll for it because you are a demigod bard. Especially seeing her confusion about, no, Tazik, you weren't gone. Tazik saved you. No, where Tazik was here, but now Tazik it has to be somewhere. The story has been changed. And changed so abruptly that it doesn't all make sense. But in that way that things don't always make sense in a dream, they're just going with it. I was trying to do a nice thing, okay? I was trying to do a nice thing and it ended up being a mean thing.
And at that sense, not really wanting to ruin Bastion's moment, but does lean over and say she doesn't know. She won't know.
Huh. Well, that's disappointing.
Well, but we know.
That's true. I mean, I could make it happen.
How
No,
about
no,
not?
no, that's bad. That's bad.
That was. I mean, it was a good story, though.
It was a very good story. I'll look back to Layla and be like, my apologies. History's rewritten itself, so I am completely off balance there.
Who are you again? I do not
Bastion.
understand. Bastion.
Yes. Was Fiona. No longer.
I am very confused.
All I can say is Fiona cared very much about you. You probably knew they had feelings for you. But you were busy with other things, which is perfectly fine. They wish you a happy life, but Tasik is gone, and I don't apologize for that. Because they're awful. But I do wish you a very good life, and you have so much fun. I have an appointment with the Weaver. Goodbye. I'll just step away and I'll start walking towards the door.
You see Layla start to say 4 different things and then just go to sit down, but she knocked her chair back, so she almost falls. And it's just I do not understand. Picks up a little spider. Do you understand? I do not understand.
As they continue to follow Bastion, Phineas does walk past Layla and say, "It's all right. It's a dream. It doesn't have to make any sense." And snaps their fingers to put her into a gentle slumber.
She just drops to the ground.
Gonna have to wait until they're sitting down for that. I have to remember
Gently
that.
sleeping.
Yeah.
And as you two walk away, and Bo is very distracted, a little voice appears in your ear. Dylan. Hey. Hey, so. And a little poof of purple. And then a cat just sitting just kind of around a bookshelf, where he can kind of not be seen by anyone else. He's having to do this. He's actually having to do it since y'all can see him, and he's very upset about it. You can tell that tail is going, despite his best effort to stay cool. And he's like, "Hey, you've got some potential here. You know that, right?"
You mean what by that?
I mean, yeah, they're demigods or whatever, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong, that's really cool. But you're all that remains of something powerful enough to potentially overthrow the Dreaming God, and you controlled that power. That's pretty cool, don't you think? He lays his little ears back as he grins up at you.
I'm not gonna lie, this has all felt very weird. From the moment we got here, it hasn't felt real, but this feels less real. Things can be too good, Things can be too happy, we just get whatever we want. That's not life, right? It's we're dreaming.
I mean, did you really get everything you want? Or do you want more? Because like I said, you've got potential, and I know how to use it. Or to teach you how to. I can't use your potential. I'm purple. You're pink. We can't. I'm just saying. If you're ever interested in, flexing that power, working that muscle, you just give me a call. And then he winks, but in that cat slow blink way. So he's one ear goes back as he winks.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
See you around, Dylan. And he's gone. And that's where we're going to take a break before well, something else is going to happen. I'll give you all that much. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're not quite done with this adventure yet, so we're going to come back and see where this leads in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll see you soon. And welcome back. So, as we fade away from the temple, you four spend time. Time is a strange thing here. It expands and it flexes. Maybe it's days that you spend exploring the dreaming worlds, testing out your new powers. Maybe it's years. Maybe you right wrongs. Maybe you just cause a little chaos. But eventually, Bo, you feel yourself pulled towards a point. It's not scary or bad, but even as a demigod, you feel an intense pressure, both in your ears and on your soul, as time and space start warping in a way that it was not meant to. The world around you stretches and blurs, and when it snaps back, you find yourself standing in your home. It's empty and quiet. And you know where you are. And you know what's coming. And you know what you do. Only this time, being back in this space, you hover slightly above and behind yourself, looking down. A knock comes to the door. Only this time you watch as a mist swirls around the frame. You look at the door and a misty version of it opens. And you see the monk, Andre, on the other side, coming to collect you. And then you see time move in a misty, not reality. You see a different future, one where you control your temper, and you follow him to the monastery. You see your younger self meet a woman, tall and strong, who introduces herself as Honorel. You watch a friendship form. You find community, companionship, and craft. With your brothers and sisters of the cloth, you build, you create. Your temples and cathedrals and libraries and monasteries stand, some of the greatest wonders of your world. You see it as a misty, not quite reality, but you know you could make it real. You could make this the life that you lived. It will cost you that sliver of godhood which pulses through you now. For no mortal can change their past. But you are no longer immortal. As you stand looking through this portal of what could be, you can either change your past, or you can step back and continue in this world that you have made for yourself.
For the first time, maybe ever, Bo sees this alternative vision of what could have been and just kind of turns away from it and looks for her friends. There's like a sense of completeness inside of her that she feels kind of disturbed as she kind of watches this future play out. She can feel her heart sink a little bit. She can feel the weight of the grief that would still be there, even if she went home. She looks around the emptiness of her house and realizes that Echo will never go away. And there's no Echo in this place.
You do, as you turn away, feel a sense of understanding from something large. And you instinctively understand this was an attempt at a gift. But there is no sting in your rejecting it. And as you turn away, you feel that pressure like you're deep underwater and your ears are pushing in. And then you're back within the dreaming worlds with your friends, as if nothing had happened.
Am I still in front of that temple?
You are wherever if you wish to be at a temple, if you wish to have been somewhere else with your friends when this calling happened, that is where you are. We're playing loosey-goosey with time.
I think I just kind of go back to the moment that we all had just been sharing, Bastion walking back away from Layla. And there's a sense of like inspiration. And as I kind of like look down at my blueprint, like I find a sense of completeness at the design that I've made and feel like this time it can work.
And again, time progresses, and you each do whatever it is you literally dream of. But eventually, Phineas, you feel the pull of a stronger divine. You slip through the pressure of a tunnel. You find yourself in your room. Your brother studying a large tome beside you. You're a child again. And strange things have been happening around the house. Small things. Harmless oddities. Delightful and funny to you, your young mind. Items that have gone missing. Ingredients that have spoiled far too quickly. Things that are left out, causing your mother to trip and tear her fine skirts. The servants wisely hide their smiles, but their whispers still reach you. The masters of the house have not been minding the fair folk. They forbade the staff from leaving out offerings of milk and honey. Dangerous and foolish, the servants say. And just as you take in this moment, it's funny, you haven't thought about this in a very long time. Lightning crashes outside the window, drawing your eyes. But everything freezes then, including the lightning. You're looking down at your younger self, hovering above yourself in the air. Your brother is still focused on his book, but your eyes have turned to the window. How had you forgotten what you saw? Or maybe you just convinced yourself you only imagined it. Truth is very hard to face sometimes. You look out the window, the lightning still branching and bright, illuminating a face. Pale skin and hair, eyes of pure darkness, looking in, looking at you. There's a symbol that's been added to the inside of the window. Your parents have been researching protective magics, ways to keep the Fae at bay. Mist swirls around the window frame, and you see a misty version of yourself approaching the window, scratching through the symbol, throwing it open. You see the sharp-toothed smiles as your kin, your true family, embrace you and sweep you away. You watch as though through a misty glass, a very different life unfolds before you. One filled with magic and color, of warm laughter and love and pranks, and a very different kind of power. One where the Wakefields fade almost entirely from your memory. And this life can be yours by forfeiting that fragment of divine within. And no sooner do you realize this than a gasp pulls your attention from the window and back to the room. You see Phineas, your brother, recoil in horror at what he sees. And beyond him you see the hall. It stretches long and looming with mist swirling about the edges. And you see your life as you very much remember it unfold. Until that night. That night when they uncovered you, when they cast you out. You see a misty version of your grown self at your feet, having crashed through the window, the searing pain of the moonbeam spell cutting through your flesh. And you realize that you can infuse this version of your past self with some knowledge of the Godplane. You won't be able to retain all of your memories of your adventure and your companions, but you have a powerful understanding of your family's goals, of the power they are constraining, and how you might be able to bend that power to your will. You will have to work and think and earn this vengeance yourself, but this is a vengeance that can be yours. And so you stand, caught between a face peering in a misty window and a furious phantom version of yourself sprawled on the ground. You only need reach out one way or the other, or simply walk away.
They're like all of this happening in that frozen, slowed down moment of time. And there's a different play of emotions on Phineas's face. There are tears coming from their eyes, but there's also this very sharp smirk. And they're more than aware of what they could do. And I think the thought of now truly understanding the power that his family harnessed and what it came to mean in the Godplane, they realize it's not. I mean, to have gone through everything that they've been through, and to have defeated this and freed everyone on all of these worlds. it may be an easier path to give his younger self access to that power, but it certainly wouldn't be the better one. And they're able to help so many more people now. But they do reach back and they give their younger self the gift of an extended moment where they're able to see that face looking in the window. Just to give them the feeling that they are not alone. And changing and doing nothing else just kind of turns away, visibly shaken, but letting things play out as they did.
And at once, it's a strange feeling because you can think back to that night. And you have the memory that you've known that whole time. But somehow overlaid over it, you also have the memory of being seen. Knowing that there is someone like you and that they were reaching out to you. And you can feel the difference that made for young Phineas. And that past pulls away. And Dylan, the pull comes to you as well. Pressure as things distort and twist, and you stand there that night. You hear your mother scream and turn just in time to see your father leaping in front of an attack. Humanoid shapes wrapped in shadows, threaded through by tendrils of blue-white mist, have seemingly materialized in the room around you and your family. Your father crashes to the ground, and looking now, with all you understand, you see wisps of pink filling his eyes. As he falls, taking the blow intended for your mother, you watch those wisps start to evaporate. And in his final breath, he roars for you to run. As pink leaves his lips. And time slows. You watch disconnected from yourself as your younger self follows his commands and flees towards the door. But lingering there, you witness something that your younger self did not. Your mother sneers, gathering power. She screams your name. Dylan! And reaches towards you, trying to pull you towards her, towards your father's body, into the path of the many, many attacks the shadowy figures are about to unleash. But you're too far away. You keep running, and she sneers. One of the shadowy figures turns their head, locking eyes on you. And the shadows start to fall away, revealing a half-orc with misty blue-white eyes. They're wrapped in garments quite similar to Vasal's. You look to the door, and beyond it, wreathed in mist, you see the life you know. Your Uncle Drac rushing towards you, book in hand, trying to separate you from the approaching half-orc. And then you look back at the orc, through the mist still swirling about their body, and you see a very different life. One where the monks of the Sultandom captured a frightened child. But they were not what you expected. They saw your fear, recognized your loss, and taught you to contain the forces within. You see a world where you did not wander alone, where the terrors of that strange book did not dictate your path, but rather a world where you found family and community. A life where you lived as something akin to an oracle, able to predict the thoughts and movements of the nightmare, thanks to your bond. Where you were able to defy your mother's will at every turn, not as a monk, but as a trusted advisor, assisting the Sultandom in their efforts to protect the dreaming worlds. You look back at your younger self and you can change this here and now. You can stop yourself and change your entire world. But doing so will take away that newfound shard of power. And you know, even behind it, that pink mist still burns within you.
Am I able to call Lancelot here?
You call out, and you call out, but you somehow know this is the act of the singular divine God in this space, created for you.
I think there's this moment where Dylan's looking from one option to the other, and neither of them really seem good enough. I think they want more.
Being a demigod is a powerful drug.
So they will step back into the shadows.
And you watch as this time mists away, and that pressure pushes in on your ears, and you are back. Peppa. Bastian. You spend your time deciding how you will approach the Weaver. And just as you find yourself prepared to go to her, you feel that powerful pull of the divine. You find yourself standing in a field, a ring of merchants' carts spread before you, the temple to your back. To your right, you see your family, your devoted parents, your brother having returned home, restless and eager to go back out on his adventures. To your left, you see Layla, laughing and slinging magic, along with the other Rippers. Things shift slightly, and you're suddenly within the Weaver's cottage. She sits, though you somehow know that it's not her. It's not the same. And as these things seem to change before you, you hear a voice. It's not a language you understand, but somehow you know the words. You've changed so much. The voice startles you. Even more so, as you don't hear it with your ears, but with your mind. You look down, and beside you stands a child. The dreaming god. A shimmering cloak made from the gossamer threads of fate draped across their shoulders. Their brow knits up with an almost pout. I don't know where to bring you to give you happiness. They look up at you. Their eyes somehow both misty and bright blue. Would you still find joy in my service?
And Bastion kind of gets down on one knee to be eye level with the child god and says,
They stand just a little taller.
in all honesty, in a sense, I've been in service to you this whole time, just under another name. I think with all my years of service, though, I did have some, I guess, freedom in a way. But no matter what, the belief did not stop. I still believe in a sense that my faith in the Weaver brought me to this point. That part of fate led me here, back to this cottage, eye to eye with you. If you would have me, I would be honored to still stand in your service, not as an arm of the Weaver, but as a speaker of the Dream God.
They smile and reach out, and you see no small bit of relief on their face, as if they were a petulant child avoiding this conversation. And they touch your cheek. You were one of my first worlds, you know. I wasn't very creative back then. I borrowed a lot from the waking world and the realms I came here to forget. I even borrowed the gods from those worlds. I wanted to tell great stories. I wanted to learn, but it was only me, so I needed you all to do great things. I wanted you to live exciting and heroic lives, but that also brought you suffering. I didn't do all of this to lie. It wasn't to hurt you. There's no greatness without sadness. You've changed so much. I've never seen anyone change this much. It's really exciting. And as they speak, Purcell steps out of the mist behind him, smiling at you, and holds out a hand.
Bastion will reach her own hand up to clasp it, and with Purcell's pulling themselves up. From, I guess, being very small from the first time that I saw you to now being still shorter than you. Much has changed. But I am happy to be by your side again, Purcell.
It is wonderful to have such an admirable sibling at arms. I have been fighting alone for so long.
You don't have to anymore.
And years pass. 4 of you all retaining your shards of godhood, free to wander the worlds. The Bastion, you are occasionally called to the service of the god. You're given time to wander and explore. And we don't have a great deal more time, but I do want to give you all a little bit of time for some vignettes, if there's any other things you would like to touch on.
Bo tries to seek out a realm that reminds her of home. Like, she knows she can't go back, but just a place that looks and reminds her. And like, as she kind of sits and thinks and tries to kind of sort through like the files of this place that she has in her mind, she realizes she can just make one for herself. And she kind of closes her eyes for a moment away from her friends and just like pictures this beautiful, beautiful place, wide open fields, olive trees, mango trees, all the things she loves best. Her old house, but big enough for everyone to stay. And when she opens her eyes and she looks around, she starts to construct a monument. One that's a lot more modest than what she may have tried before, but resplendent all the same in its detail. And the finishing touch she puts on it between the stained glass and like the statues outside of her friends and people at arms. Little markers for Bice and for Vassal, and a small statue of the Dreaming God in a garden next to like a little ravine. And she waits. Like a couple days go by for it to fall.
You wait. And you wait. And for as long as the god dreams, none of your creations crumble unless you will it.
I think I just share it with everybody.
Wow, this is beautiful.
It's been a long time since I've been in a position to show off. I think that's what it's called. But I wanted you all to know just how much you mean to me and how much this has affected me, and that there's always a place for you in this world. Though I'd love to see where you feel most comfortable.
Are Phineas and Dylan also around too?
I hope so. I want everybody to come over.
Oh.
My house is big enough for everybody. Everyone has their own room. Like, all the rooms like are outfitted to like whatever specifications I think you all will want. So there's like cool spider stuff in Bastion's room, and there's like a little door that goes into my room so that Bastion can visit whenever they want. And then like in Phineas's room, there's like a grand library and like a bunch of instruments everywhere for them. And in Dylan's room, there's just like a regular bed and like regular furniture and a little note on the desk that says, "Do what you want."
Amazing.
Incredible.
So fair.
See Bastion look between the three of you. Look back to you, Bo, and says, in all the individual travels that I've done throughout this world, throughout these planes, I don't think there is a place that I'd rather be than in the company of the three of you. In a sense, this is my home, wherever you are.
Bo cries great miniature tears.
Oh,
And
I'm so
just-
sorry. Just like comfort. Like, oh no. I'm so
You guys
sorry.
see like the floor is like shaking with like their great like sobs. And
Is Bo the ugliest crier?
oh yeah, it's real bad. There's like
God.
minotaur snot all over her face. Like it's real bad. But she,
Prestidigitation, prestidigitation.
Yeah, no.
Up, up. We just
she
tag
looks
team.
over at Bastion and with permission grabs her hand and like looks up at them. Well, I guess looks down because big. I never dreamed this was possible. Having friends, family again. Can we really stay like this forever?
So long as the dreaming god wills it.
I think she just kind of happily sits in silence, holding on to Bastion and just like taking in this moment. It's like the first time that she's had family since the beginning.
Phineas, how do you fill your time? I gotta know if you find the Wakefields. I gotta know.
At first, after understanding what the dreaming god was willing to offer them, there is a moment where Phineas sort of starts to tell a story that they have had, that they have told themselves and written since they were a child. And they essentially call a world into existence within this realm where no one is ever alone or abandoned. People are sad. There's strife. I mean, there will always be. But the people there at their core are able to rely upon one another, no matter what. And in this place, they call forth a grove of trees, and there is one tree for every face that they saw in that long hallway. And there's a moment where they want to lose themselves in this place, but they do realize that there's no longer anything to fear. They can simply go back and see what has become of that small family, small ambitions, and small minds. What felt like the need for revenge is gone. It hasn't completely been replaced with compassion, but it is a nagging curiosity.
Phineas, this world that you call forth, do you make yourself known as its god and or creator? Or do you simply exist within it and hand wave away questions?
Phineas is known, but only in the way of a fairy tale or a legend. There will always be stories of someone who someone thought had been long dead and yet appeared to them to give them something they needed or to help them or to lead them and direct them. And then that person was gone. And that is in that place who Phineas is.
And you find not only a grateful, inspired populace, but this grove which you've created is truly magical for anyone who goes in it, but especially to you, because it gives you choice. You can step into it and simply sit and listen and hear the stories of all those heroes. Their time on the Godplane, the things that made them heroes, the things that didn't make them heroes, that just made them interesting. And you can also, at any point, think of that tree and go to that world and effortlessly either meet or observe this person and absorb their stories. And eventually you peek in on the Wakefields. And you see the house that once was so massive. And yes, it is very large compared to many dwellings. But it's so small compared to all that you've created. And yes, you feel their posturing and their anger and their strife. But it is so insignificant compared to all of the joy and happiness that you've brought people. And looking in, you see just how sad and scared they were. They had this bit of power that they had mostly learned to contain. But they saw Faye at every turn. And once you were gone, Faye had no interest in them. And they continued to live their lives paranoid, researching magics, building containments, building repulsion spells for something that forgot about them very long ago. And eventually, your brother, who was never as good a student as you, let his concentration slip, did not do that seal quite right. And that pink power that they had contained within that space broke free. Your brother survived, but only just. But with that power gone, they were no longer able to manipulate anything. And they went out with a whimper, forgotten. The beautiful manor was in such a state of disrepair by the time that they finally gave up that no one bought it. No one renovated it. It faded away into the woods, which had grown rich and thick with the power of Fey magic, until even it was completely forgotten. A home for pixies and fairies and sprites, whom your family didn't want to leave milk and honey for.
It's not satisfaction. It's just... I think it's an overwhelming feeling of inevitability. They made their choice to have hatred and fear in their heart, and they did not thrive by it. And while they could have changed, they chose not to.
And I think that you, with just a bit of divine in you, are able to look back at how much you let hatred and bitterness control you and color your life and your worldview. And you think back to your little world and your little grove of trees and the joy that giving of yourself has brought others, but also you. And I imagine it's hard to look back at that person and think of them as the same as you.
I guess we just call that growth.
Bo, as you have built this space where your friends are welcome to visit anytime, and I imagine Bastian visits often, is this a space for you and your friends, or do you invite mortals around?
I think as time passes, at first it's just for my friends because that's who I know will come. That's all I've really known and understood. But as time passes and I see other people experience loss, other people wandering aimlessly, questioning whether or not something good will come to them, kindness will be shown. I just keep adding and adding and adding and adding to this house to make a place for people who have perhaps lost their place and can come find it again.
And so mortals come and go, wandering in, and some stay for the rest of their days, and some find themselves and find a purpose and wander back away to their lives. No one quite knows how they get to the house, but all across the worlds, the whispers and the stories and the legends of the house grow. And every night, just as twilight turns to darkness, anyone standing near that statue of the dreaming god swears they can hear a soft, childish laughter, joyous, fill the air. Does anyone else have anything they would like to have their characters do as we draw the curtain on this adventure?
Dylan, you have anything? Or... Okay.
Dylan, I
Come
imagine
on.
Dylan
I think for a little
wanders.
Carrie will not get got, is what it is.
Dylan wanders restless. And while they do come to the house often, she never stays that long. And you see a child of strife who's looking for their place, looking for this thing that will make them whole. And Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dylan does find joy in seeing their friends, even if
Yeah.
their visits come less and less frequently over time as they go seeking something, restless and ever seeking. And eventually, it's quite a while, even to your senses of godhood and your distorted sense of time, before you see Dylan again. But when Dylan appears, word spreads. And Phineas and Bastian, you return to the house, and the four of you are together for one great night, one time together. And darkness falls, and we step away from this. The mist closes around your little band as Dylan steps away back to her endless wandering, and Phineas to their world and their stories, Bastian to their service, and Bo to finding a home for others. And as companionable laughter rings warm and welcoming through the dreaming worlds, just beyond your consciousness, a different kind of mist swirls, purple and cunning. And as you separate, a feline face, now more panther than house cat, fills the sky, stretching across the endless horizon, leaving a distant, not quite tangible afterimage in your minds as a different, slightly more sinister kind of laughter rings. And behind it, a shape looms, tinged with pink and crackling faintly with orange-red lightning and the impression of a fanged smile. You all continue on your adventures, knowing that somewhere, unnoticed, forgotten, and glad of it, a new nightmare is building its power, waiting, preparing, and it is not alone. And as the scene ends, ringing distantly in your ears, you hear, "So Dylan, what do you want to do first?" And that will conclude our journeys in the Godplane.
Hell yeah.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much, chat, for joining us in this adventure, especially those of you. We had so many new people tonight who were like, I'm here for the first time and I don't know what's up, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking in the talents of these amazing people who for some reason agreed to sit at my table. I am flattered and humbled and so grateful. Thank you for my amazing players. Don't forget, we do have a tip link if you would like to thank them. That is like a hug, but with money, if you're able to. Let's do a quick round of outros. And as always, reversed order. Carrie, you're going to have some explaining to do in the after show.
Yep. Hello, I am Carrie Smith. You can find me at Carrie Smith 2012 on Twitter and YouTube. I run Crossroads Games, and we have lots of all kinds of stuff over there. We play all sorts of systems and lots of horror stuff, and this is just my jam, and now I'm a god, so what are you gonna do?
That's gonna go well for everyone. Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. You can find me everywhere as Urban Bohemian. Hold on, I got the list.
Yeah, deer in the headlights. I know that looked very well.
It is Thursday, so not only have you seen me here with this awesome table, but the latest episode of Cyberpunk Independence, a Cyberpunk Red podcast I'm on, has come out on various podcast places. Let's see here. Saturday, I'll be streaming on my own channel. I will also be on DC Lasir, DCLASIR's channel. We'll be doing the 5th in our baking themed one shots for charity, benefiting Take This. That's going to be me and Tanya and Painting Pirate and Zerjester and Awkwardish Panda and DC Lasir's DM. On Sunday, I'll be streaming, and there will also be me on Rivals of Waterdeep, 12 p.m. Wait, sorry. I always get this wrong. Shoot, 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't know, time, whatever.
It's a weird
Twitch.tv/Rivals of Waterdeep. And then on Monday, you can find me on the final, sadly, episode of Idle Champions Presents Hunger of the Far Realm. That's over on twitch.tv/CNE Games. If you enjoy Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realm, then you should hop in right now, because through November 21st, you'll be able to unlock my character from Rivals of Waterdeep, Virgil, in-game. And Other than that, probably nothing else except a lot of rest until PAX in a few weeks, where I'm actually going to be seeing a few people on this stream, and we're going to be doing an awesome panel, but also we'll just be there trying to hang out, have a good time, definitely having some cocktails in the hotel bar.
Piper.
Hi everyone, I'm Piper. You can find me at Maddie Matihi at Twitter. You can find me at Matihi on Twitch. So sad this is ending. But you can find me every other, for now, because I'm guesting on my spouse Emma Panada's channel every other Sunday. Actually, we're not resuming that until January. But if you want to watch the VODs, I'm guesting on there. We're playing Ravenloft. It's a really fun time. Everyone has their own little PNG tuber. It is absolutely adorable. Highly recommend to watch. I'm also over on Emma Panada's channel again on Tuesdays. We're playing Curse of Lady Strahd, A Queer Voyage into Barovia. And starting on December 17th, we finally have a confirmed date. We're finally going to be setting sail and launching What We Do in the Shallows, a 5e pirate campaign. It's going to be gay, it's going to be romantic, it's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be eldritch horror. It's going to be a really fun time, and I'm looking forward to it. But besides that, I might be in other things coming up, maybe over on Going Crit RPG's channel more in the new year. Check it out, maybe. But yeah, that's me.
And last but certainly not least, Candace.
Hi.
Are you mad at me?
A smidge.
Okay.
Ask me again tomorrow when I've had
Okay.
time to think. My name is Candace, also known as Candace the Magnificent. You can find me around the internet at Candace the Magnificent or on Twitter at that Candace girl. Where will I be? I don't even know. You can find me tomorrow night on the Lost Caravan playing some Merkborg. You can find me every Monday over on 12-Sided Stories playing Delta Green. You can find me at 12-Sided Stories wherever you get your podcasts in the upcoming Bookhound Bounty Hunters, which is a podcast featuring the Sword of the Serpentine system. So anybody who likes Gumshoe, please come out for that. And then you can find me at PAX next month. As Herb said, that's going to be on Saturday. We're going to have our panel, but we will be around. You can also find me on Carrie's channel on Crossroads Games in some things I'm not allowed to talk about. Although I think one thing's been announced already.
Who knows?
I mean, if you go to YouTube, you can like see it. So like, I'm just going to talk about Oops All Bards. You should definitely come see Oops All Bards when that premieres. That's going to be
Yes.
next month. You do not want to miss that. I cannot sing its praises enough. I haven't even seen it edited. I just know from shooting it, it was a miracle. So please don't miss that. And then I'll be on Ladies of D&D next month, actually, for a few one-shots for their In December event, playing all indie games. So yeah, definitely check that out. And then the new year, I'm going to be everywhere. You won't be able to escape from me. So please keep in touch with me.
Nor would you want to.
I mean, you know, I'll just like apparate places. Yeah, please keep in touch on the internet. You can find me at those variety of places. And yeah, I feel like I'm missing something. So just keep an eye because I'll update it.
And I'm Kate Purcell. I have been your GM for this wonderful, torturous series. You can find me at KDamnFear. You can find David, my co-DM, both in the chat and on the twits as Full Rubber Ducky. You can find both of us talking every Tuesday on the Chaotic Wholesome Talk Show, except for this coming Tuesday, because I will be playing Pokemon. If you like Pokemon, I am at launch tonight at midnight. I will be right back here streaming Pokemon. It's an addiction. It's fine. You can also find me every other Wednesday on the Emergency Power Podcast. That is a homebrew Starfinder podcast. Starfinder knowledge not required to enjoy. I have a lot of fun with it. I hope you'll give it a glance. And yeah, find me at PAX for our panel, How to Take People's Money and Give It to Charity, with Candace and Brian and so many amazing people. Saucefire, Holly Conrad, Gabe Hicks. I'm sure I'm missing someone. I don't know. It's late. This was an emotional thing. I was trying to keep everyone going. Thank you so much to my players. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to Emily. Thank you to David. Thank you. I didn't see Kato tonight. That doesn't mean Kato wasn't there. It was a lot to keep up with. Thank you for Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms for sponsoring us. Use / code in chat to get your Electrium chest. And thank you, chat, for spending your evening with us, for spending your time. If you are new here, if this is what you met, please, I cannot stress enough, you will want to see the journey that these characters went through, because wow, did they change and grow. I cannot believe how much they have grown and changed in 8 episodes. The VODs are up on YouTube at Chaotic Wholesome, and I can't wait for the next story I get to tell. David and I have a Christmas charity one-shot coming up. It is going to be terribly, painfully chaotic. I can't wait. We haven't figured out cast yet, but that's coming. And lots more coming. Thank you all for joining us, viewers and players alike. I am overwhelmed by what an incredibly cool story we got to tell together. And this feeling right here, this is why I play D&D. So thank you for giving me this feeling. Everyone, be kind to yourselves, be excellent to others, and we'll see you for the next adventure.